Hello, honorable members of the clan. So, welcome to today's episode of Judge Rata's courtroom with Gininda on the stand, and he's been telling a lot of lies. Fibs. The guy is good at fibbing. He is being lying through his throat. I know that I left you guys hanging last night. I thought I was going to do the part that I'm doing now, but something else came up and I couldn't. So we're gonna have to deal with it this morning. So just before the court resumes this morning at 10 a.m., let's go through what transpired after the long adjournment. I really needed to cough up the stuff that I coughed up yesterday because things were not making sense. So anyways, after the long adjournment, this is what transpired. Mr. Gininda came on the stand and said, hey, by the way, there are two aspects that I've forgotten to mention in my earlier testimony, and I would like to put it on record now. And of course, Mr. Baloy was like, okay, go ahead. And then he says, aspect number one, I looked at the ballistic testing of Silo Twala's firearm, and I'm like, yeah, the one with the wheel, right? No, it's not that one. It's a 9mm. But the eyewitnesses, I'm talking about the people that were in the house, said it had a wheel. They did not know what it's called, whether it's called a revolver or it's called a 38 special revolver or a 9mm. They did not know. There was even a small debate between, I think, was it Tumelo Mtogo and one of the defense, like, hey, it was not me who said it was a revolver. It was the officer that was helping me with the statement. Ote, it was a revolver. All I said was it's a gun with a wheel. And then they described the color and all of that stuff. But the gun that was taken allegedly from Silo Twala, this is Chico Twala, it was a 9mm that was taken for ballistic testing. So I don't know. I don't know anything about guns, but I think a 9mm does not have a wheel. But that is what he wanted to put on record. And he says the reason why he had to do this ballistic testing on Chico Twala's gun is because there were rumors that suggested that the firearm used to delete Senzo Meiwa was Chico Twala's firearm. Then he says the ballistic results show that the bullet that came out of a different 9mm could not have been Chico Twala's 9mm. But it was a gun with a wheel. That is what eyewitnesses say. We're talking about the people that were in the house that saw the gun. Where is that 38 special is the question. All right, where is it? And I heard somebody say there are reports that the red polo was actually stolen sometime in 2018. I don't know how true all of this, but you cannot be losing things, guys, that we could ask for ballistics to be done on them. It makes no sense to me, but anyways. And then he continues to say the second aspect was in the docket 636 of this very case in court. No statement then or today who saw Longwe or Kelly that suggests that they deleted Senzo Meiwa or anyone in the house. So basically what he's saying is no eyewitness either inside the house or outside the house who can say outright that they saw Longwe or Kelly Kumalo deleting Senzo Meiwa. I was like, okay, so... But the thing is, we are beginning to see things after the Red Polo story came out that Longwe Twala couldn't have been by himself. He probably was with someone else who could drive, probably the owner of the car. And who's the owner of the car? According to the AVL report, it is Silo Twala. But we don't know which Silo Twala. This is a senior or junior. And members of the clan, they're like, it's junior. But of course, if it is junior, then I'm going back to my theory that probably they're the people that actually are the intruders to rob and get an expensive cell phone so they can buy substances, do their thing, and then get away with murder. I don't know. I am just rubbing my two IQs together here. That is all that we are doing. And then, of course, Gininda continued to say, well, I forgot to mention that I rolled my eyes at this point because people don't see intruders going into the house, but they see people running out of the house after the gunshots. That did not make sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me. And then the statement of Hlophe, this is the mayor-in-law who said that Tumelo did make a call and said that usenzo udulubulwe indoda Zandile by mistake, meaning Zandile's boyfriend accidentally shot and killed Senzo Meyiwa. Apparently that statement was ruled out. But we still need to see the 205 of that call from Tumelo Madlala. Where is it? Where is it? Because according to the investigation, especially the initial investigators, after hearing this, they should have gone and gotten the 205 just to make sure that a phone call of this nature was ever taken or not. All right. So there were, and then Brigadier Gininda continues to say there were intruders. I am convinced, and I still am convinced that there were intruders at the Khumalo house. And then he goes on to the photos. And then he says, looking at a photo of a person with dreads, the person resembles accused number 3. And I'm convinced that it's accused number 3, Gininda says. But the phone records don't put him at the crime scene, though. It doesn't. None of the 5 people that are accused. Let's continue. The photo shows it was taken on the 26th of October 2014. However, it is clear that the download was done in, the photo was taken in 2015 and the downloads, no man, I'm twisting things around. The photo was taken on the 26th of October 2014. The downloads were done in 2015 when they were doing the investigations of the photo of Mr. Ngube. And then I'm like, but the phone records are saying otherwise. He was not at the crime scene. Accused number 3 was not at the crime scene, irrespective of what this photo says. The records and the movement of that cell phone doesn't put him at the crime scene. Anyways, then they go to the night of the 31st of May 2020. And then Gininda says, after warning accused number 1 that he has the right to remain silent, but proceeded to say he's willing to tell the truth. Baloyi put evidence of 4 September 2023, Zwane's evidence on record, page 22, stated that he only knew Sibia, though there were 3 of them. This is now Gininda telling the court. Furthermore, Gininda says, they came to me as people as who needed to find work. I gave them herbal medicine to cleanse themselves and then go search for work. I was confused at that. I was like, so what does this mean? I mean, I'm a Zulu person, and as a Zulu person, some things we believe in, that if I'm looking for work, finding isichitho, isinyama, isdina, all those things, and you do that by going to a traditional doctor to cleanse you of those things so that the people that are hiring do not feel somewhat about you, but they trust you type of situation. Anyways, furthermore, Gininda continues to say on the statement of Mr. Zwane, I don't know what transpired after that until I saw them 3 days later when they came back to me. The second time around, I could not ascertain how many people were there. Safe to say, Sibia came to report that the job has been done, but someone sustained injuries. But then how is that linked with what happened to Senzo Meyiwa? Where does he mention anything about deleting Senzo Meyiwa? I'm sure I'm missing something here. And then he continues to say, then I told them about the misfortune where someone loses their life, that there is a cleansing ritual that needs to be done or performed. I then gave them things to go and cleanse themselves of the loss. I help people I help people. This is what Mr. Zwana said. I help people. But the police, they took a picture of me, and then handcuffed me and took me to the police station. With the rights read? I don't recall his rights being read to him when he got arrested. And then he says when they got to the police station, he did see Sibia at a bit of a distance, and then he asked him, what happened? So in other words, why am I arrested for you? Type of situation. Then he says, this is the very Sibia. This is now in court. And I was like, at this point, I was getting real bored by this testimony. Then Zwane says, I usually charge 100 Rand, but on this day, the people, Sibia and his people, they gave me 500 Rand. Statement was taken by Colonel Motlame of the Hawks when Gininda asked the Hawks to investigate Mr. Zwane and take statements from him. On the 1st of June 2020, he appeared in court in Tembisa, this is Sibia, on case 217. No bail was granted on this particular appearance, and my question is, on what grounds? Because they don't mention the grounds. Was he a flight risk? What made them think he was a flight risk? Was the community in Tembisa going to uprise if he was released on bail? You know, all those things. Or it was another compromised magistrate who took this decision. Let's go on. On the 4th of June 2020, I went to see him. This is Gininda now, who went to see Sibia because he's remanded in custody. He was not granted bail. We don't know on what grounds. It would be very nice to know on what grounds he was not granted bail. And why on the first appearance? Because the first appearance, you're going to Ubingelele Manji to say hello to the magistrate, and then a new date, it is set down while the investigating officer goes and do a thorough investigation. Amongst the investigation is going to do is to check if the suspect is not a flight risk, that the address is given is the correct address, and all of that stuff. But first appearance is denied bail. Make it make sense legally. Those of you who are legal eagles, come on, guys, help us out here. And then Gininda says, I warned him of rights again. He was in Valeria police station. I wanted to establish if he's still willing to go show us the crime scene. He did say he will do so freely and voluntarily. I got the help of Colonel Khadebe, who was going to assist by taking him to Albertine police station, and then from there to the pointings out. Pointings out were done on the 5th of June 2020. I then received the paintings or the pointings out report, and then I received a photo album of the pointings out. In the photos, accused number 1 is seen pointing at the crime. He took the officers to the place. You know, this part is quite hilarious but upsetting at the same time, especially when you are working with crooks wearing blue uniform. I mean, you don't know things. Number 1, you've been tortured almost half to death with electricity, beaten and all that sort of stuff. And then you are made to say, to do this. You are basically pointing to an abyss. You don't even know because they're directing you, point here, point there. And you do it because you're afraid. But this is seen as a gospel truth that this is done voluntarily and freely and sober-minded and all of that stuff. And he's pointing at the crime scene where Senzo Mewa was deleted. I don't believe it for a second. It was voluntarily and freely and uninfluenced by or coerced or whatever the case or whatever words you're going to use. And then I was looking at Muzi Sibia, who not even once looked at Gininda because he was busy writing notes. He was busy writing notes because these are the things that he wants to remember when he takes the stand in his defense about all the lies that Gininda was busy with. Then he says, I recall a photo where he was pointing at Basutu Hostel. He further said, this is then Muzi tells Gininda that he said this was a contractual deleting commissioned by Kelly Kumalo. That's what I forgot to mention. Gininda says this was prior to taken to Arrington police station. It was at the parking lot where Muzi said this to him, that it was a contractual killing. I thought in the trial within a trial, Gininda didn't mention this. He didn't. He came as a person who knew it was Kelly Kumalo who commissioned the deleting of Senzo Meiwa. No evidence, I see. We're sneaking in the cookerization. And then he continues to say the pointings out corroborated by evidence. And then he puts a very unnecessary information, and he's been doing this for, I don't understand, like the time and place of Senzo's death. Like what was that about? And then I already covered what I was concerned about when it came to the DNA results of the people that were in the house with Senzo Meiwa. That does not sit well with me at all. I already gave you guys my thoughts on that in my yesterday's video. Then Mr. Mnisi, because Mr. Gininda was explaining the pointings out, and then Mr. Mnisi stood up on objection and point out, he says, are very straightforward. They don't need explanation or analysis. Judge Rata then he said, I know the sport. That is what Mr. Gininda said. He looks at Mr. Gininda, is this what you said? And Mr. Gininda is like, yes, my lord, is exactly what I said. But there was a bit of an argument, which I think it was quite boring because it was also expected because the favorite child is on the stand. And of course, the judge has to be awake and must defend, not listen to the contexts of what the defense is actually saying. Because at the later stage, this is the same judge who is going to say, but this was not canvassed with Mr. Gininda, or this was not canvassed when Baloyi was doing something wrong or irregular in court. And now they are telling him that, but you are going to tell us this. And then he's like, no, you can argue it. Then he turns around and says, no. You have the right to cross-examine the witness if you feel this is incorrect. And then Ms. Mshololo stands up and she says something very important, I thought. I was like, yes, Ms. Mshololo, I'm with you on this one. Because Mr. Baloyi tried to manipulate them with section 219 of the Criminal Procedure Act about proving whatnot. That's nonsense. And then Ms. Mshololo stood up and said, this gist is not about section 219. The gist is on the explanation that Gininda is making on the stand. This witness cannot explain what the accused was pointing. There ought to be notes for that. And then the judge says, you got the right to cross-examine the witness until Mandela rises from the dead. And then when that time comes, guess what the same judge is going to do? Defend Gininda. He will defend, because it's already showing that I'm going to do it when you cross-examine him as well. Because he did respond in the leads, and he said that he needed to corroborate. Why can't I pronounce this word? Anyways, let's go on. You know what I mean. Then Mr. Mshololo then put it on record to say, we have the right to point out when something is wrong being done in court. If we are overruled, then fine. Then it must go on record that we were overruled. So it's not to say that we did not point out this wrongdoing. Then Baloyi stood up and he was steadfast in his defense for the witness. And Judge Rata as well sarcastically looked at Mr. Baloyi and said, the defense has the right to cross-examine. Put it to Gininda at cross-examination that he was wrong to explain. Then Mnisi also stood up and said to Mr. Baloyi, because Mr. Baloyi wanted to say something to the defense, basically continuing to educate them. Mr. Mnisi is like, I'm educated enough to be educated. But the judge came in because he realized that Mr. Baloyi was making a mistake. He says, no, he's educating the court. I was like, no, this is not what Mr. Baloy said. He said, I just want to say something to the defense. And then Mr. Mnisi stood up and says, if he's going to quote an authority to us, we also going to come back tomorrow and rebut it with another authority. And this is when Baloy abandoned his lecture to the defense with the judge's tail between his leg, because this is not what Baloy said. He did not say he's going to educate the court. Anyways, Gininda continued to say, I am collaborating what is on the photos. I went to these places to corroborate the build, to build this case. Mr. Mnisi was a prosecutor and he should know that. I was like, what a shade that you threw at Mr. Mnisi. But I was like, Mr. Mnisi, don't say anything in response. Leave him until you grind him when you cross-examine him on this aspect. This is a process I had to do to corroborate because photos can't speak, says Gininda. And so this is when Mr. Baloy said he now is going to move to a new topic. I don't know whose confession he was going to go on. I think it's going to be the confession of Muzi Sibiya, accused number 1. But then he asked that if the court could adjourn until tomorrow. The judge wanted to know what time it was. He said, it is 13 minutes past 3. And I was like, please rescue some of us because we are writing with our hands. You know, I do have writing stuff, but I'm still old-fashioned type of guy. I still believe in writing with my hand. But anyways, I was like, my hands need some rest. Anyways, please give this adjournment. He then asked the defense. They did not object to the adjournment, and then the court adjourned. That is where we at, good clan members. And I don't know about y'all, what you picked up. What's happening in that courtroom? New evidence being thrown. Irregularities are being thrown around. Anyways, guys, it is after all Judge Ratta's courtroom, and that drama, I'm sure, will still continue until when he decides to put this matter to lie down. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's that. Yeah, that is it, guys, because the cookerization is revealing itself, which is good, by the way. We are able to say, my 2 IQs are saying this does not make sense. No, this is not what was said before. Why are you bringing new evidence? Anyways, guys, let's see each other a little bit later after Gininda has lied enough at during the short adjournment. I will see you then. Thank you all so much. Please do not leave this video without liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing if you like this family, because this is how we do it. We rub our 2 IQs together and come up with our own opinions, because we are not lawyers, judges, or legal experts. We have noggins. So that's what we are using, 2 IQs here. And you're welcome to come and use your own. See you next time with a new video, and goodbye.